So last week we started chapter 9 on wisdom, and where it started, where Shandeva started with saying, all the other practices, such as the other perfection, the 5 perfections, and all other practices are taught as a means to cultivate that wisdom, realizing the emptiness. Because all the Buddha's teachings are given in order to overcome our delusions. And all Buddha's teachings are directly, indirectly, to reduce and to overcome our delusions. And the actual antidote that can destroy the delusions completely from the very root of it is the wisdom realizing the emptiness. And so through the wisdom realizing emptiness, we can overcome all the delusions, and with the support of the Bodhisattva, we can overcome also the subtle obscurations, the obscuration of knowledge. And by overcoming those obscurations, then one can achieve, true ultimate happiness of enlightenment. And so therefore cultivating the wisdom realizing the emptiness is so important and crucial. And that is like the very heart of all the Buddha's teachings, as the Heart Sutra, with even that title, as you know. So we explain about emptiness. So again, but at the same time, understanding emptiness is, even on intellectual level, it's not as easy as understanding, loving kindness, bodhicitta, compassion, and so forth. And therefore, within the Buddhist tenets or school of thought, they have a different understanding of the meaning of selflessness, emptiness. And as we progress from one tenet to another tenet's understanding, then one's understanding of the selflessness, emptiness become more subtle, more deeper, more profound. And in order to have that more subtle and more profound emptiness, according to the middle way school, then it helps if we understand the other schools, how, and then what is the wrong in their understanding of emptiness from the middle way school. So as we go through that, refuting some of their misunderstanding, then our understanding according to the middle way school become more deeper, and so that is why you often see, whether it's Nagarjuna's, whether it is Chandrakirtis, all those great Shantideva or Indian schools, why they go through those different tenets and how refuting some of their misunderstanding of emptiness or selflessness. And so, yeah, and so I think maybe last week, I think we finished verse number 3 or 4, I think 3, yeah. I think we finished.
Yes, we finished verse 3.
Yeah. And verse number 4, it said, due to the difference in their intelligence, even contemplative are refuted by successfully higher ones by the means of analogies accepted by both parties, regardless of what they aim to prove. So what it is saying is, yesterday he spoke about there is ordinary beings and yogis or contemplative intellectuals, and how misconception or misunderstanding of the ordinary beings is being proven wrong through the reasoning and logic by the yogis, the intellectuals. And even within the intellectuals, the yogis, there are many different, even within the, even within the Buddhist yogis and intellectuals, as I said, there are 4 Buddhist different tenets. And each of early tenets of their presentations of what selflessness or emptiness is, not the most deeper understanding, is being proved wrong by the higher schools through reasoning and logics, and even within the high school or middle way school, even within that, even among the practitioner of that, even that, there are many different level of understanding of the emptiness, selflessness, there is first there is intellectual understanding in some of them. In some of them, they go beyond intellectual understanding. They have experiential understanding. And even though it's experiential understanding, still it is with a concept, inference, using reasoning and logics. And as we continue to practice on that, then eventually one goes beyond that and have a direct realizations, direct understanding. That doesn't require the inference to the reason and logics. And even once have direct realization, still within that, again, there are many different levels as one continue to engage in practice in meditation and post-meditations continued. And so as you get higher and higher, the higher realizations kind of superpower or overpower the previous realizations, So here in that, there come a kind of cautions is saying, when the yogis prove the ordinaries wrong with the reason and logics, their understanding. They prove their understanding misunderstanding by proving, even though they perceive things to be inherently or truly existent, but through reason and logic, things does not exist truly or inherently existence. And so that is how they prove wrong or how they refute. Which one is the verse? And then that is where verse number is regard to what is accepted by both parties, regardless of what they aim to prove. So when the middle school are trying to prove the other schools, that their perceptions is mistaken and wrong, in order to prove something wrong, there need to be some object that is to be accepted by both parties, and so and so therefore, as something that is accepted by both parties is such as dreams and illusions, both, whether it's some of the lower school or middle school, they all both accept there's such so-called dreams, so-called illusions, and both accept they are not true and false. Both school accept dream is not true in the sense that it is example of not being true. What you dream inside is not really happening, and also like a magic or illusions. And so by using that which is being accepted by both, then the Madhyamika prove the other schools wrong by using that as an example. So here, the verse number 5, ordinary people see and imagine things as real, So ordinary peoples, as well as those schools, we have appearance of object, whatever external, internal objects, appear as truly existing, real, inherent existence. Not only there is a existence, but we actually believe and grasp that way, as real, and not a illusory, So we see those, everything that appear to us, external, internal objects, the ordinary beings, and they believe what appearance, what they appear as real, as a truly existent, inherently as a real, and they don't realize it is a false, and they don't realize it is like illusory, So it is in this respect that there is a disagreement between the contemplating and ordinary peoples. So here the caution comes, some of the other schools, if things does not exist truly or inherently, then they think it does not exist, because they cannot differentiate between truly existence and existence, and non-truly existence and non-existent. They think it is same. For them is same. And so unable to differentiate those two difference, when the Madhyamika refute how thing does not exist inherently or truly existing, then they think, oh, if it is truly not truly existent, not inherently, then it does not exist. And again, it is not only those schools. Also, sometimes that's how we feel. You know, we feel if this book is not truly existent, then we think, how can you say there is a book? You know, very similar. And so therefore, so if that is the cases, you know, then the cautions, then what is the point of engaging in practice such as generosity, moral discipline, patience, and all other perfections, in order to, what is the point of engaging the path in order to achieve enlightenment? Since they do not exist inherently, truly existence, that means they do not exist. And if they do not exist, what is the point of that? And so that is the kind of the questions they ask, you know, or the they have difficulty of understanding of that, you know. So whereas the middle school says, you know, we have no disagreement, you know. He said we have not, when it is not analyzed deeply with the ultimate analysis, when you don't analyze deeply or with the ultimate analysis, you know, on conventional level, on relative level, there's a practice of generosity, moral discipline, and patience, and all other perfections. And there is all this practice. There is path. And by practicing all this path, one can achieve enlightenment. There is enlightenment, you know. So we have no disagreement on that. But when we analyze, with ultimate analyze on deeply, so then there is a different understanding on that. And so middle way school, then there's when you analyze with ultimate analysis, then, you know, nothing can be found within and outside of the their object of destinations, and therefore nothing exists ultimately and truly, you know, or inherently. And so therefore everything is like illusions, like a dream, because even though they appear truly existing, inherently existing, but they do not exist inherently truly existence. The way thing exists, the way thing appear and the way thing exists, they are not same, and therefore they are like illusion, like a dream. Whereas the other schools, they believe, you know, there is inherently truly existence. And so therefore that is where the disagreement is between the contemplative and the ordinaries. So the disagreement is not about whether there is book or not. The disagreement is not about whether there is table or not. Whether there is, the disagreement is not on whether there is path or not. The disagreement is not on whether there is enlightenment or not. You know, both accept, both agree. There is enlightenment. There's a path that leads to enlightenment. There is the persons who is engaging the path, the practices. So there is no disagreement on that. But the disagreement is, you know, the ordinary, other schools. They think the book, the table, the person, the path, the enlightenment, they all exist inherently. and truly existence. Whereas middle school, they assert all of those things do not exist truly or inherently. And that is where the disagreement comes. And therefore, all of them are like an illusion, like a dream. So that is. So yeah, that kind of arguments from the other schools comes because they are unable to differentiate different between non-inherently existent and non-existence, existence and inherent existence. Whereas the middle way school make a distinguish existence and inherently existent or truly existent is not same. Also is not same, non-existent, non-truly existent, non-inherent existent. You have to make, those are two different things. And we have to distinguish those two different things, and not being able to differentiate the two, and that is why they get confused, the other schools and ordinary beings. Even the object of direct perceptions, such as form and like, so then the next, again, another question comes, if things do not exist truly or inherently, then when our consciousness experience the objects such as shape, form, the visuals, and or sound, the odor, the taste, the object of touch, and so forth, then it will be, they think if it does not exist truly or inherently, then that will go against the direct perceptions of those consciousness. They are saying, our direct perceptions, eye consciousness is able to perceive and see the cup or the book, so then they think then it goes against that kind of against that direct experience. So that is again, they are still confused with that, not being able to distinguish two things, that. So even the object of direct perception, such as form, so form is directly perceived by eye consciousness, and like, the sound perceived by the ear consciousness directly, the smell by nose consciousness, the taste by the tongue consciousness, the feeling by the body consciousness, and so forth, are established. And so here is saying, the Madhyamika is saying, are established by consensus and not by verifying cognitions. And here is saying, it does not, it does not contradicts that those consciousness perceiving directly and those object existence, and they're not existing inherently, because all of those objects, external or internal objects, they do not exist inherently, truly, or by itself, but they are exist or established by the consensus, meaning, in our world, we have certain the sentient beings, the ordinary sentient beings have consensus. Okay, we say, when for example, when there is a paper, is whatever is made out of, and then when there is a letter that is written in certain words, syllables, words, phrases, and then a sentence and meanings, and then when it is put together, then we call it book. That's the consensus among the beings for a and so that is what is saying. It exists by the consensus, but not because they exist. It's verified by a cognition that perceives inherent existence, you know. And that consensus is false, you know, and is in general agreement of pure things are impure. Mm-hmm. And those are basically saying, you know, they exist by consensus or by knowing within the sentient being, or by relatively or conventionally, nothing more than that. And that things that exist relatively or conventional is a false, you know, because the way they appear and the way they exist does not concord, and therefore they are false. And the example of that, you know, even in ordinary beings, you know, within the ordinary beings, even though, you know, there's impurity, let's say our body, you know, our body is full of impurity, but still we perceive as a pure, you know, even though our body is full of unclean, we perceive it as to be clean, you know, and so, and again, and that is like false, you know. And similarly, like that, you know, also, even though all the things are not inherent existence, instinctively existent, but it appears as inherent existence, and we perceive it as an inherent existence, and so therefore that is false, you know. Then again, another kind of cautions and argument comes, you know. If thing does not exist truly or inherently, then again there might be a contradictions to what Buddha taught, and so that is where the protector taught, you know, so Buddha protector taught. So, like for example, in the first teaching of the first will of teaching of the Dharma, you know, where Buddha talked about Four Noble Truth, and when you talk about the Four Noble Truth, you know, he spoke and taught about the four characteristics of the nature of sufferings, you know, that all phenomena are impermanent, all the four great seals, which are the all conditioned phenomena are impermanent, all the contaminated experience are sufferings, all the phenomena are empty and selfless, you know. So here isn't Buddha taught those such as impermanent to be, you know, as the ultimate. Didn't, so then he said it's against the Buddha's teachings in Sutta that Buddha taught, you know, all those the four seals as being, you know, the ultimate truth, and so therefore, and in answering that, then the Madhyamika is saying the protector taught things, those such as 4 seals, in order to bring people to the understanding, in order to bring people to the understanding to the ultimate reality. Even they are not they themselves are not the ultimate reality. They are conventional reality, such as the impermanent, the all conditioned phenomena impermanent, for example. That one is not the ultimate reality, but Buddha taught that in order to help the disciples to lead to the better understanding of the ultimate reality. It is like a step, stairs. It's like the stairs in order to help. So that is where, in order to bring people to the understanding, the understanding of the ultimate reality. And so then the question comes: if those things are not ultimate, but only conventional, as you said to me, momentarily, this is inconsistent. So it is saying inconsistent because momentary, impermanent are thought to be the ultimate in some of the sutras. So therefore, there's an inconsistency. That is what they're called. Then the answer that Madhyamika said, there is no fault in the conventional reality or contemplative. In contrast to the ordinary people, they see reality. Otherwise, ordinary people would invalidate perception of women as impure. So on conventional level, from that point of view, within from the conventional point of view, such as impermanent, are much more higher reality than from ordinary point of view, from ordinary person point of view, that could be ultimate reality, but in reality, it's not the ultimate reality, and therefore, just because the ordinary people have the conception that has been ultimate reality, therefore it does not contradict that being a conventional reality and not ultimate reality. Just because the ordinary beings see that. Likewise, for example, as a practitioner, in order to overcome our attachments, the men attachment to the women's, then they look the women's body as impure. If the women attached to men, then they look men's body as impure, in order to let go of attachment to the bodies, or in their own body. If you are attached to your own body, then you meditate on seeing it as impure, and impure in a sense that our bodies is full of garbage. If we look inside really, then we get disgusted when it comes what is inside our body when we go to toilet or when we vomit it. It's disgusting, it's impure, disgusting, and that is all in our body. And not only that, even some of the things that organs, our organ, if we look in each of those organs, is not so attractive. is not so attractive. If you look each of part, everything in within our body, so that is where is. So even though we ordinary sentient beings who have attachment perceive the body to be a pure, even though it's impure, and so therefore, just because we ordinarily be see as a impure, as a pure, it does not invalid that they are impure. And so that is where it is saying. And then the next questions again: how can there possibly be a merit due to the jhana, which is like illusions? And as in the case, if it's truly existent, so then again it is the same. And so since the middle way school says, nothing exists inherently or truly, they're empty of truly and inherent existence, even though they are empty of truly and inherent existence, but due to our imprint, things appear as truly existence and inherently existent to our consciousness, to our mind. Therefore, the way thing really exists and the way thing appears is not the same, and there is a gap, and therefore all are like illusions, like a dream. So they are like a dream and like illusions. So then when you said that, then that is the way the question comes, If everything's like an illusion, if everything's like a dream, then how is it possible, by someone making offerings to a Buddha and to create merit? How can that is possible? If it's like illusions, if it's illusions, if everything's like illusions, if everything's like dream, then it would be not possible to create virtues and merit by making offering to the Buddhas, for example. If things and then to that, the Madhyamika will say, even though things are not truly existent, but still by illusion-like, by making an illusion-like offering to an illusion-like Buddha, we create illusion-like a merit. And giving same to him, just as you believe that, just as you accept and believe for those other schools, such as the Sotantrika schools, just as you accept everything exists, truly exists, just as you accept and believe that truly existing persons, by engaging truly existence, making a truly existing offering to truly existing a Buddha, then you create truly existing merit. That's what you say. And so here is saying, just like that, what we say is non-truly by making non-truly existing offering to non-truly existing Buddha, then we can create non-truly existing marriage. So there wouldn't be any no problem not creating marriage. So that is why. So again, another caution, similar caution. If sentient beings are like illusions, why is he born again after he dies? And again, that is same thing, you know. Again, the problem is some of the schools, they have a difficult of understanding non-truly existent and non-existence as being same. And that is where always the problem comes, you know. And so when things are negated as truly existing or inherent existence, to them is like non-existence, you know. They cannot establish from their thinking, from their way of thinking, from their reasoning, from their logics. They couldn't establish something can exist if they do not exist inherently or truly existence. And so that is the where the problem comes, and the confusions and all this doubt and cautions arises. And so here, again, that is where the questions asked. Again, to that, again, Madhya gives similar answer, you know. Even though sentient beings are like illusions, and even though they do not exist, truly existence, you know, but still, illusion-like persons die, and then illusion-like persons take a rebirth, you know. So and so therefore there is no that problem there wouldn't be a problem if something is like illusions, you know. Just because it's like illusion, that doesn't mean it does not exist. And so therefore, since they exist, so they can die, and then they can also take a rebirth, you know. And so there is no conflict with that. That's something being like an illusion and non-truly existence, to die and to take a rebirth. There wouldn't be a conflict. If an illusion lasts for as long as collections of its conditions, even an illusions last for as long as collections of its consciousness, why should sentient beings truly exist merely because its continuum lasts that long, you know? And so then even though they are like illusions, you know, due to having gathered all the many causes and conditions together, therefore the illusion like arises. Illusions like person take a rebirth due to such as conditions of the ignorance and actions and all the 12 links, you know, due to all these 12 links, when all these conditions come together, when all these conditions come together, then illusion like persons take a rebirth, illusion like person take a rebirth. And so if you if someone says, well, sentient beings are from the beginningless lifetime, and so therefore it is not same. So then, Madhyamika said, how can you make something exist, truly existence, and something not truly existing and false on the basis of something being long and something being short? You cannot make something exist, truly existing on the basis that being for a long time, and something being not truly existing and false on the basis of being only being there for a short time. And so that is where refuting that answer. So why should sentient being truly exist merely because it continue to last long time, because it come from beginningless and it continue to go, and then if consciousness so again, another questions, again, similar questions keep on coming, because again, they cannot understand if things does not exist truly or inherently, how can they exist? So therefore, if consciousness does not exist, even though Madhyamika doesn't say they do not exist, what they say is they do not exist, truly exist. And when the middle school said they do not exist truly, again, to them, it means not existence. And so again, the same question comes, if the consciousness does not exist, there's no sin in killing an illusory persons, And so then they think if someone kill, someone, will there not be a negative karma? Because the person that is being killed is like illusions. The person that is being killed is like illusions. And person who's killing is like illusions. The act of killing is like illusions. Since it's like illusions, so then wouldn't there be a negative karma, And so then to that answer, Madhyamika said, on contrary, when one is endowed with the illusions of consciousness, vice and merit, it do arise. So again, they say, even though they do not exist inherently truly existence, and therefore they are like illusions. But since the person being killed, even though it's like illusion, like illusions, but because it has consciousness, like illusion, like consciousness, therefore, if you kill that person, you will create negative karma. If you practice generosity, you will create merit. So therefore, because even though it is like illusion, but still it has like illusion, like consciousness. Since it's a consciousness, it hurts if you kill them. If it harms if you kill them. It helps if you practice generosity and help, because it has consciousness. And so therefore, you will have a negative karma if you kill, and you would create a positive karma or merit if you practice generosity or help and benefit that. And so we will have a short break, okay? Questions? Questions, comments? So far?
Yeah, should
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
no, you go, Adrian. Go, Adrian.
All right. I guess I was just wondering about, I know there are many schools besides the middle way you've been discussing, but are there, you know, 3 or 4 main schools that you're talking about besides Middle Way?
Yes, there are mainly 4 Buddhist tenets or school of thoughts,
Okay.
including the middle school. And within the each of school, there is again subdivisions.
Yes.
Even the middle school, there's 2. Even the minority school, there's 2. So even within those schools, there are subdivisions, but mainly in major 4 schools within the Buddhist tenets. Yeah. Yes. Femine?
Okay. I guess while I'm listening, and I have had a lot of distractions because my daughter's not feeling well, but I mean, you're talking about the illusion like state, I guess. And the arguments being, I'm not sure if I can form this question, but I'm going to try. The arguments being that if you, like, for example, if you're an illusion, like, if it's an illusion, then how can you gain merit? Just one of those examples that you said. How can you gain merit if it's an illusion? Isn't that merit just an illusion?
Yes, yes.
So I guess I'm trying to, while you're saying it, break down this emptiness concept of dependent arising and all the other things that go along with emptiness. And
yes.
I don't know if I can form the question. So the other school is saying that, well, if it's an illusion, blah, blah, blah. And Madhyamika is saying the merit is, it's an illusion as well, but it's still beneficial because, why?
Because it's dependent arising.
One of the thing I think the confusion here is when the Madhyamika said everything's like an illusion, everything's like a dream, because even though things does not exist inherently, it appears inherently. Therefore, everything's like an illusion, so like a dream. The confusion is that is, and sometimes even we see, you know, then think it's illusion. There's a difference between like an illusion and illusion. Yeah.
What's the difference between the illusion and the illusion? Are you talking about a like
for example, magic illusions, I don't know, in Tibetan is Guma, you know, is like some people who create that kind of illusion through their trick, magic, you know, or substance, whatever they use it. So, or let's say dream and dreams like state is different. Dream and dream-like, illusion and illusion-like. You know, in Madhyamika, for example, everything we do, we all are like a illusion, like a dream. But it's not a dream, it's not an illusion.
I see what you're saying.
And so when Madhyamika explained everything's like an illusion, everything's like a dream, they're confused to think it is an illusion, it's like dream. And because of that, that question comes, you know, in illusions. In illusion, if someone kills, illusion person kill another illusion person, will that have a negative karma or not? And illusion persons make offering or generosity like illusion persons, will that create merit or not? And so here, that is where this next question, the answer comes is, you know, in the dream, for example, in the dream when someone kills someone, okay? One way of looking is there's no negative karma created because the person in the dream which is killing and person who is being killed, they do not have consciousness because it's dream state, it's not real persons.
Right.
So they don't create negative karma. That the person in the dream.
Right.
Or a person in the dream, if they make an offering or generosity to another person's or higher or same or poor, you know, again, it doesn't create merit, generally speaking, because there is no consciousness there. Okay? So therefore, whereas we, even though we are like illusions, even though we are like a dream, if we kill someone, which is like an illusion, like a dream person, we create negative karma, or if we help positive karma, because there's consciousness involved there.
So the other schools are saying that they have more of a, I don't think this is right, but they have more of a nihilistic view.
No, I think more than nihilistic view, they have the other extreme, internalism.
Internalism.
Internalism. Eternalism.
Oh, eternalism.
Yeah, because they think everything exists, truly existing, you know.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So they believe everything is existing truly, and then when that is negated, then they think Madhyamika is becoming a nihilism.
Oh, okay, so that's what I was going to say. They think that Madhyamika is nihilistic.
Yeah. From
Okay.
their point of view, Madhyamika is nihilism. Because from their point of view, you know, for them, if you reject, if you refute, truly existing for them is refuting non-existence or
Okay.
refuting existence, and that
Okay.
means existence. So from their point of view, you know, the Madhyamika become nihilism, nihilistic.
Okay.
I don't know, nihilistic.
Nihilist. I don't know. I say.
Nihilist. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm trying to. I think I'm getting it a little bit. I get it a little bit.
Yeah, that is where, you know, we have to remember illusion and illusion-like is different. Dream and dream-like state is different. So
Yeah. Oh, okay.
because Madhyamika will say, you know, when we are awake, we are not, they wouldn't say we are in a dream state, you know. But even that awake is like a dream-like state.
Right.
You know, because it's dream-like state because in the dream, even though we are not running, there's a dream of running. And in similarly, even though there's no inherent existence, there's appearance of inherent existence. Therefore, it's like a dream state, like a dream state, like an illusion state, but not an illusion. Itself is not an illusion. Itself is not a dream. Of course, there's a dream. There is the illusions, but not everything is illusion. Not everything is dream.
Right.
But everything's like a dream state. Everything's like an illusion state.
So it's sort of the difference, maybe this might be wrong too, but sort of the difference between like the temporal reality and the ultimate reality is what am I going on?
Yeah, those are true truth. Ultimate reality and temporary reality can be conventional reality.
Conventional reality. Yeah, that's what I meant. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? I know it is a little bit challenging when we are going through those. And once I think once we go through early where is refuting some of the different schools, that is a little bit more difficult part. And then after, then there is a presentation of the middle way school, their presentation. When it comes to their presentation, then it is more easier to grasp and also is more easy to apply. Now it's more kind of refuting and back and forth, you know, and so then it becomes a little bit complicating.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have a comment.
Yes,
And
please.
I think for us, I think that in the West, we are more accustomed to, we are not as accustomed to negating things as we are asserting. So sometimes I feel like it gets confusing. The terminology gets confusing to us, because every time you say that we're not truly existent, that negation is harder for us to grapple with than saying that we are dependent arising. Because when we use the word dependent arising, then all these other things make sense, like making negative karma and positive karma, and all these things kind of fall into place for us because that's part of the dependence. We're dependent on all these causes and conditions and so forth. And I think, so sometimes I think it's more, then we get confused when we're not, by the terminology of the negating terminology. Just a comment.
Yes. Yeah, I think there is a lot of challenge in terms of the terminologies. Therefore, a lot of teachers have tried to, like, even Thich Nhat Hanh has tried to retranslate the Heart Sutra, because again, people misunderstand, and instead of emptiness, he's calling bountiful. Bountiful. And of course, it is not very close to the real translations,
right?
But because people have difficulty with the word, the terms, and they have a lot of misunderstanding, and so they are trying to find a word. And so also some translator, some teachers, they will just use shunyata instead of emptiness. Again, the term is a lot of, we have a lot of challenge with the terms, not only with the emptiness, also with others, like attachments, or many other terms, and yeah, and so definitely I think I guess maybe when it comes to the as we come to the actual presentation of middle school itself, then hopefully that will be more easier. Here is kind of two different schools kind of debating and negating with each other's back and forth.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Geshe.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? And that is where the verse number 12 comes, is the continuity of the verse number 11. An illusory mind is not possible, since mantras and like are unable to produce it. So again, because it says, there is a difference between killing an illusion person, killing another illusion person, and illusion-like person killing an illusion-like person. There's a difference, because illusion-like person killing another illusion-like person has a mind, consciousness. And so that is the difference. And so because of, so then in terms of not illusion like person, but illusion persons, illusion can be created by magicians. Illusions can be created by the magicians by using whatever substance, mantras, different things to trick our mind, to trick our eyes. And so they create that kind of, but so therefore illusion mind is, but the mind cannot be, the mind has to be coming from previous mind, continuity from similar, the mind cannot be produced by mantras or substance or trick like the other illusions. And so that is what it means. Illusion mind is not possible since mantras and like are the substance, whatever they use to trick our eyes, whatever, are unable to produce the mind. The mind has to be produced by its similar cause, the mind itself. And it cannot be produced by something as such as substance and mantras or whatever they are using for that. And diverse, whereas, whereas the illusion persons, not like an illusion like person, but illusion persons can be created by mantras and substance and that kind of trick, so that is why the difference. Diverse illusions originate on account of diverse conditions. So, whether it's diverse illusions or diverse, many different type of illusion like the world, various illusion like the world is created by many different illusion like cause and conditions. So again, here it explains about dependent arisings, how illusion like very different illusion like different world, and different type of the things in the world all are created by a different cause and conditions, many different cause and conditions, Nowhere does a single condition have ability to produce everything, so therefore not a one condition can produce everything, and again, this is another way of understanding, for anything to come in existence, it depends on many cause and condition. It's not just one cause. Whether it's the world, that everything surrounding us, the plant, everything, it doesn't depend. Just one cause cannot produce all these different world. It depends on many cause and condition that produce. And same with our experience, whatever experience we have. Sometimes we have pleasant experience, sometimes unpleasant experience. Sometimes we have a more neutral experiences. Sometimes we have happy, joyful experiences. Sometimes we have a, painful experiences. But those experiences are not produced by one cause. It is produced by so many causes and conditions. And I think it is important to understand that. Sometimes we tend to blame one cause for our whatever experience. And that is, when we do that, then we are unable to see the completeness of that. Every experience, good or bad, there's so many different causes and conditions that lead to that state, that experience. If we understand that in terms of good experience, then we will not kind of neglect all the other cause condition. Sometimes we just focus on one cause and we don't care and we don't give attention to many other causes, and therefore we cannot have the result that we want. because we are focusing on only one particular cause, because believing that is the cause, that one cause is the cause for that result. And then in process of that, we kind of neglect and ignore the other causes, not taking care of other causes, and therefore we struggle to have the result we want. In terms of the unpleasant experiences, painful experiences, again, we tend to blame one cause instead of seeing multitude of cause and conditions. And when you see so many cause and conditions involved in our experience of that, then we don't have to be so upset and angry with one particular cause or one particular. Normally, that's what we tend to do, because we believe our experience due to that one cause of that person's behavior, action, whatever. And we get very upset and angry with that. But that is only one condition. There are so many causes and conditions, seen, unseen causes and conditions. And that person's behavior is only one of the cause among many causes. And when we understand that, then we don't really blame everything to that person's and that person's actions and behavior. And when we don't blame everything to there, then we don't have to be so upset and angry towards that person. Our anger can be, reduced when we really understand that. So these questions comes again because Madhyamika says, on conventional level, on relative level, due to delusion and karma, samsara rebirth is created, and due to the samsara rebirth, there's aging, sickness, and death, and so forth. But all of them are empty of truly existence. On conventional level, on relative level, there's all of that. Due to certain cause and conditions, certain result of suffering is created. But also the cause and result, both are empty of inherent existence, truly existence. And that empty of truly existence, inherently existence, is the state beyond sorrow, nirvana, the emptiness of that, which the state that is empty of truly existence, inherently existence of that, such as birth, aging, death, and so forth. Is so to that, then again, there is a confusion, not being able to understand and grasp fully, and there's confusions, and then that is where the questions comes. If one could be ultimately emancipated and transgressed conventionally, because again, conventionally, there's suffering due to ignorance and karma. But ultimately, there's no karma, there's no delusions, and there's no experience of that. And they both are there together. The ultimate reality and conventional reality, both there. And so that is where, then even the Buddha would transmigrate. And so what would be the point of the Bodhisattva's way of life? So then they think, if that is the case, then, yeah. So not being able to differentiate the ultimate and that. So that on ultimate level, that is beyond the sorrow, because on ultimate level, that is beyond the sorrow. There's no aging and death and so forth. And so being that the case, then they think, and so even you have achieved ultimate goal, because on conventional level, because there is a suffering and the causes, and so therefore then what about the Buddha who has achieved the ultimate level? Also that will mean they will also transmigrate, because on conventional level. And so if that is the case, then what would be the point of Bodhisattva's way of life in order to achieve the enlightenment? Because you will still be in samsara due to cause and condition and delusions. So that is, again, not being able to understand fully of that, then that questions arises again. So here is say, not only on ultimate level, there is no delusions, karma, and the result of that karma and delusion, such as samsara, rebirth, aging, death, and sickness. On ultimate level, there is none of that. But on conventional level, there is that. And so then, because on conventional level, there is that, and therefore, not only it can be those delusion and karma, and the result of that karma and delusion can be destroyed, not only on ultimate level, but even on conventional level. And so that is where, when its conditions are not destroyed, even on conventional level, on ultimate level, there's no condition to be destroyed. There's no condition to be destroyed. There's no need to destroy. There's no act of destroying on ultimate level. But here we are talking about conventional. On conventional level, when its conditions are not destroyed, and illusion like does not cease either, So when conditions such as karma and delusion are not destroyed, then the illusion like result, such as aging and death and sickness, does not cease either, on relative level, on conventional level. But due to discontinuity of its conditions, on relatively, when you discontinue those conditions, when you stop the delusion and karma, which are the conditions, then it does not originate even on conventional. Then the result of that, such as samsaric rebirth, sickness, aging, and death, will not originate, will not arise even on conventional level. Not only on ultimate level, but even on conventional level, it will not arise, and one would not experience that when the cause and condition are stopped in that. So that is. So within the schools, there are, within the Buddhist schools, the first two schools, Swatantrika and Sutra schools, they believe there is a external world which is apart from the consciousness, the internal world, and that external world or external objects that is separate from the mind. There is that world and there is that objects, and such as the books, such as all the form, sound, orders, the food, and the object of tangible, all of that, they believe there are external objects that is separate from the mind, and they believe all of them truly existence. Okay, all of them truly existence. To that, the mind-only school negate that, and then mind-only school established, there's no external objects that is separate from the mind. Everything is created by the mind. It is a you can say expression of the mind, display of the mind. And it is same, the mind and that object, same entity. The way you understand, they say, we have imprint, for example, in our mind. Let's say consciousness. For example, I see a cup, and that consciousness, by seeing the consciousness cup, that leave an imprint. And next time, when that imprint manifests, one side of the imprint manifests into the consciousness, and half of that imprint, which comes from the same imprint, manifests in the object that consciousness perceives. And so therefore, the cup that my consciousness is perceiving and the consciousness that the I consciousness that is perceiving cup, they both come from same imprint, from same mind. And so therefore, that is what they say, mind-only school. And also the other schools, they believe there is a partless matters and consciousness, and the ultimate, the most final matters is partless. It's so small you cannot. It is so small that you cannot break anymore, and that is the partless. And many of them coming together become more obvious, and then we can see it. But if you break into it, then it goes to the most subtle that you cannot break anymore, and that is what they call partless. And again, so all this physical matter are made out of those many partless coming together to make a part, the mind-only school reject that, reject and refute that ideas, and they said there is nothing that is partless, so with the reasoning and logic. And so therefore they say the external objects are not truly existent. The mind-only school will say the external objects are not truly existent, because even though they appear to exist externally, but they do not exist externally the way it appears to us. And so therefore they are not truly existent. But they believe the mind to be truly existent. The external objects not truly existent, but the mind to be truly existent. The mind which is conceiving that, the mind which is creating those external world, external objects, is truly existent. And so that is refuted by the Madhyamika, Madhyamika says, the middle way school says, not only the external objects are not truly existent, but also the mind itself, the consciousness itself, is also not truly existent. And so the mind only school, when the Madhyamika says, when the external object are not truly existent, they understand it. But when the Madhyamika said the mind is not truly existent, then they cannot understand it. And for them to say the mind is not truly existent is equal to saying mind does not exist. And so that is where the confusions come, and that is where the cautions comes. And so that is where the mind only schools cautions coming here. So here you say, if even in mistaken conditions, cognition, even when a mistaken cognitions, such as the mind or cognition that perceive the illusions, does not exist, by what an illusions are certain, So if the mind, because the so when your mind is looking at the illusions and believing it's true, that is the cognitions, the mistaken cognitions, even though it's illusions, but believing that is true, that is mistaken cognitions, So even that does not exist, if you say, because the mind does not exist truly, then that means that will also not, then if that is the case, then by what an illusion are certain, So then what is the, is there an illusion or not? If there is illusion, there must be a mind which ascertain that. That is the cautions. And that is the same with all the Buddhist schools of thoughts, something to be established as an existence, something to be established as a certain, then will be a cognitions, the mind which perceive that. And if there is no mind that is perceiving that, then you cannot establish that as an existence. And so therefore, so then it is saying, then what is the illusions? Where is the mind which perceives the illusion? If there is no mind which is perceiving the illusion, then there wouldn't be the illusions. You cannot say the illusion because there is no mind. So that is where the questions come. So again, it is confusion, same of existing and truly existence, or truly existent being same, that is where it comes. If, or then Madhyamika says, if for you a illusion itself does not exist, what is apprehended? So again, the middle school says, even though there is no truly existent, even though there is no external existence or object separate from the mind, separate from the mind, even though there is no existence of external objects that is separate from the mind, but due to our ignorance, due to our imprint, there's appearance of external object existing separate from the mind. And therefore, that those external objects are like illusions. They will say they are like illusion, because even though they do not exist externally, separate from the object, subject, the mind, but they appear that to our mind. Therefore, they are like an illusion. That is what they said. And so he's saying, so in same, if you said that, then if it's that illusion, then also what is the apprehended? If it is an aspect of the mind itself, in reality, it exists as something different, So again, is saying, the cautions that you are asking me, or the faults that you are trying to point to me, it apply back to you same way. And so that is where he's saying, in that sense, because even in your school of thought, in mind only school, the external object appear as externally existing separate from the mind, but it does not exist that way in your schools. That is what you accept. That is what you believe. What is that you say? And if those external objects, do not exist, and they are like illusions, as you said, because they appear external, even though they do not exist. They're like illusions, and therefore they do not exist inherently or truly. That's what you said. They do not exist truly. And if it does not exist truly, then it will not exist. And if it do not exist, then said then what is there to be apprehended? What is their mind which apprehend that, and so therefore is the same. So it is kind of applying the same back to it. So maybe today we can stop here.
Geshe, I'm just going to go and get the dedication book.
Okay.